Say, who's just another transaction guy, and you went, where they're going to have pleasant memories and things to think about once you retire and once you're gone. So I took a step back and I said, I was at the Bold and all the other classes where they teach you, get on the phone, make this one calls, hammer it day in and day out. And I was doing that, but it wasn't really me, and I wasn't really comfortable doing that day in and day out. I said, I much prefer kind of taking a step back and building relationships, one step at a time, whether or not you have a need, for real estate at that point in time. So to me, it just made more sense. Everybody I met, to focus on developing a relationship and not just like, oh yeah, I know your name, but yeah, to really know who you are, what you stand for, what you do. So fast forward, once I identified that, I moved into the neighborhood that we're in now, Burgundy Hills in Southampton. So I guess everybody's familiar with that neighborhood. It's like 1,500 houses in there. So I took a step back and went into the MLS, and I had appreciation for the size of the neighborhood. I'm like, wait a second. There's like 1,500 houses sitting right in the neighborhood that I'm in. What can I do to kind of reach out and get to know not only the neighbors on my street, but then also the people within the neighborhood as well. So in Southampton, when I was growing up, they did this thing called the luminary lights on Maple Avenue. Like every Christmas Eve, they would line Maple Avenue, put the candles out there, light them Christmas Eve, burn through the night, and everybody loved it, including me. Yeah, I was born in Southampton and grew up in Southampton. So Christmas Eve was like you go to church like 5, 6 o'clock. When you're done church, mom and dad took me in the car. We'd drive over and see the lights, and then we come back. They tuck us in. And we get up the next day for Christmas. So I remembered that. So when I moved back into Burgundy Hills 3.5 years ago, there was a fellow, Tony Simon, who lived on Charlotte and Maple, and he was interested in trying to get that tradition back and running, because I guess the people that have been doing that over the years, retired or didn't want to do it, anymore, or what have you. So I reached out to him, and he's like, okay, I'll take Maple Avenue and do that. And I'm like, all right, I'll do my street, Harding, which I live on. And the first year, that's what we did. So we did 2 streets. So we had, I think, like 15, 20 people literally on Christmas Eve come on my front yard. We had bags of sand, we had bags, we had neighbors bringing Christmas cookies, we had Christmas carols playing. And the thing that struck me is the people that were there, I knew. I had only been in the neighborhood for like 2 or 3 months, and I knew all the people that came, to do the luminaries, but the people who were coming had no idea, other than seeing the face and waving on the street, who their neighbors were. And some of them have been there for like 5, 10, 15 years. So, not just a combination of doing the event, but it raised a spark in an idea in my head. I'm like, wait a second, this is kind of neat. People actually want to come to something, and it's fun, and we're actually getting to know each other. So we're building relationships. But on top of that, I was like, why do we wait like all throughout the year for one time at the end of the year to actually do something? Why don't we actually do something multiple times throughout the year and get people out of their houses, get people, getting to know each other, having some fun? And it started to grow from there. So we started out with the one event. We got, we had a meeting, the old Starbucks on 2nd Street, Pike and Street Road. I said, okay, I'm going to buy coffee for everybody, that wants to come out and sit down and talk about what we're going to do, what events we're going to have, and how we're going to do it. Lo and behold, people actually showed up. There's like 15 people actually showed up. And I don't know, they're renovating it right now. It's going to be the new Manhattan Bagel place on 2nd Street Pike there. So it's like really small. So we took up like the whole place. But once again, everybody was coming together, getting a free cup of coffee. We're sitting down, we're brainstorming, we're sharing ideas, and we're coming up with events. So we came up with the first year, probably 5 or 6 different events to do. Anywhere from, the first one was
an Easter egg hunt in the neighborhood. So what we would do is we go out and get those stupid plastic eggs, and we have, you know, people sign up that wanted to do the hunt in the neighborhood, and we would get volunteers, you know, to come out, get all the eggs. We put little surprises, you know, in the eggs, and we would go that night before Easter Sunday. We, as it got dark, we go out and decorate, you know, the lawns and spread all the eggs. And then the kids would get up in the morning, come out, run outside, you know, pick up the eggs, open the eggs with little surprises and stuff like that. So that was a popular event. We had, in addition to that, we had pictures. Now, the first year was when COVID was going on. So there was a lot of people that, you know, couldn't get out and do the traditional things. So to have things in the neighborhood, they were looking to do. So we had pictures with the Easter bunny. So we went out, you know, we got like a backdrop like this, you know, it was kind of festive, springy, you know, Easter type stuff. And had the neighbors, you know, bring their kids for pictures. We even had the neighbors bringing dogs up, you know, to get their picture taken. And that was a big hit. From there, we transitioned into the 4th of July, where anybody's familiar with Southampton, they have the parade on the 4th of July, all the way down 2nd Street Pike. Once again, as a kid, I would sit there on the curb. And I always wanted to be part of a parade. That was like on my bucket list. You know, I always like was sitting on the sidelines watching the parade. I'm like, one time in my life, I actually want to be in a parade. So we talked about that at one of these coffee get-togethers. And lo and behold, we had, God, what did we have this past year? 25, 30 people, I don't know. And like 10 to 12 floats. So we had neighbors that would sign up, and we left it to them what they wanted to do. We had certain like core floats based on the events that we were doing in the neighborhood. But then there was other people that wanted to do something with their kids, you know, wanted to do something just, you know, to celebrate the holiday, you know, kind of red, white, and blue, whatever. And we literally had, I think, like 40 people. And I think we were probably the largest contingent in a parade. So crazy me, after the first year and we started coming up with events, I said, well, not only having events, wouldn't it be pretty cool to have a mascot? So if we're actually going to like have like a program, wouldn't it be cool to have a mascot? So once again, we did a whole nother event, name the mascot. You know, what's it going to be? Is it going to be an animal? Is it going to be a person? You know, what are they going to look like? You know, what's the hair going to be? What's the, you know, is it going to be big, small, whatever? So that transitioned into, and I don't know how many people were here a couple of years ago, Hampton, the mascot, that participated in one of the events we had here about a year and a half ago, where we had the, what was it, the cornhole toss. Yeah. So Hampton actually showed up. It was out there like on one of the teams, you know, the cornhole, you know, toss. So, well, that was a problem. My wife never forgives me for this. Because the whole idea is like I would create the character, I would do it for like the first couple times, and then we get like one of the younger volunteers to like come to like want to be it. Yeah. Never happened. No. So it's like every time Hampton shows up, it's me. And my wife's like cringing. It's like, I'm married to this guy. It's like,
it's on like every agenda when you guys meet.
Exactly. She's like so embarrassed. Yeah, she's like so conservative, doesn't like to have an attention. And meanwhile, I'm out there making an idiot of myself.
So all about this outfit, you probably felt good in it on Saturday night, but how did you feel?
Oh my God, yeah.
4th of July?
So that was the other thing. So you learn as you're developing these things, you know, a technical error on my part. I'm like, okay, most of the events we're going to be doing is going to be when it's warm, you know, during the summertime or springtime. And I didn't have an appreciation being in this mascot outfit, like how hot it was going to get. So even more so, like, I'm like, I can't ask like a young kid to get in this thing. God forbid he overheats or whatever.
You can put face packs in this.
Yeah. Yeah. So I try to like, you know, I have like these sweatband like towels and stuff. Like I get dressed up in saturated ice cold shirts before I get in there. But that evolved. So when we were in the parade, we had a neighborhood band that developed with this. We would do events where the neighborhood band would play in like the parking, not the parking lot, the driveway of his house. And we invite neighbors to come over, with their chairs and stuff and bring their favorite beverage and hang out and listen to this band. So that evolved. What else we do? The neighborhood garage sale was a big hit. It's turned into like 40 plus neighbors signing up every year to do a garage sale. We usually do it like the third Saturday in August. So we take care of everything. We do all the advertising. We put up all the, street signs and arrows and stuff. And, we have people sign up, and all they have to do is roll out their stuff on the day of the sale, collect the money, and what doesn't sell, they roll it back in. Other than that, they don't have to do anything to prepare it, because I and the team of organizers, take care of that within the neighborhood.
Birthday signs.
The birthday signs. So this is something you can see it kind of evolves as you go. So everyone was like, hey, I want to wish somebody a happy birthday on Facebook, but I'm not friends with them. So we started developing like this Facebook group. And I'm like, well, wouldn't it be neat, the neighbors within the Facebook group in the neighborhood, when it had a birthday, if we wanted to celebrate it, to let everybody know so they could wish them a happy birthday. So somebody came up with the idea, why don't we have, a sign? All this stuff I'm talking to you about relates back to getting the name recognition, and everything we do, has hello there neighbor, has sponsored by me. Some of the stuff that the fellow realtors do, we get their names out there as well. So it's like we're getting our name out, we're showing we're in the community, we're being supportive, but we're not like in your face. Hey, here's the neighborhood nurture. If you sell your property next week, give me a call, even though I have no idea who you are. I want you to list with me. We get away from that, and we build the relationships first. And then the whole idea is when people have the need, the relationships are already there, that they reach out to us, and we get our fair share of listings and buying opportunities. So the birthday cupcake sign was literally, let me see if I can pull up a picture on here. All right,
Christmas caroling.
well, let's take them in order here. It's probably the easiest way to go through.
Yeah, I could too.
So Saturday night, this is the first, like I said, it continues to evolve, event after event after event. So Saturday night, somebody came up with the idea, why don't we go Christmas caroling in the neighborhood? Okay, tell me about it. So Brad, Brad took the lead. I'm trying to divvy out the responsibilities. If you have an idea, hey, run with it and develop it, and we'll be there to support you. So he came up with the idea, let's meet on the street corner within the neighborhood. He would have this playlist of songs, simple songs, and we just get like a core group that would start caroling, at the one stop, and then we would go to other stops and like knock on neighbors' doors to come out, with their kids and stuff to join in on the caroling and stuff like that. So the first time we did it was Saturday night. So here's a picture of Hampton, our mascot, i.e. me, their Christmas caroling. That's one of the husbands of Jenny, who's a neighbor. Yeah. But yeah, we had a great time. I mean, we had all these people. Is this the one that has a song where we're singing? Yeah, I don't know if that has a song or not, but anyway, you can see people were out there having fun. We're caroling, we're having a good time. And then the best part about this, so look at this. So the post reached 683.
Yeah.
And you got 48 neighbors liking it.
It said you have 1,000 followers on the page.
Yeah, in just 3 years. And it wasn't like I was like pushing it, hey, join up. It was like, okay, if you want to be part of the group, here's where we advertise like all the events and all the signups. So certain people like I would invite and they would sign up, but then organically they were inviting other people to the group. So when I go through the group, I'm like, I start seeing all these new names, week after week. And I'm like, okay, it wasn't me like reaching out to them, it was somebody else. Like they thought the group was fun enough and they wanted to be a part of it to share it with another neighbor and invite them. So we got, 1,000+ people that way, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
I think the best part of this, John, for you, is everybody appreciates everything.
done and how it has evolved. And I got involved because my neighbor told me about luminary lights because I wanted to know in the township. I was there for 10 years before I even knew about this. And I wanted to be involved in the lights. And my neighbor told me eventually when John started it. So I was like, oh my God. So then I contacted him. Then I knew him from Southampton and, Berkshire Hathaway, and we started talking, and then I became a street captain. And then it just started about, I would have never known any of my neighbors on other streets if I didn't get involved in this. And all of our neighbors are saying the same thing, and we're meeting them because everybody's out, everybody says hello. And it's a community that everybody wants to be involved in.
Yeah.
And it's starting to, branch over to Willow Pen, which is great, which is right across our way. And that's like the best thing about this. And my husband has a cousin in Burgundy Hills that I didn't know was in Burgundy. Well,
That was a
actually
funny
two.
story.
That we knew.
Didn't even know our cousin
I
lived in Burgundy Hills.
me until it was until we got into the Hello There Neighbor. It really is an amazing neighborhood, and everybody's likes everybody.
Yeah, and
Everybody
everything
helps
is like,
everybody.
for lack of a better word, like genuine. It's like we
Yes.
do this
Yeah.
like genuine,
Right.
like we want to come together,
Right,
we want to
exactly.
have fun. Yeah, we want to support the communities. Like there's nothing fake about it. In fact, we've made a conscious choice not to have this Facebook page with neighborhood nurturers and real estate
Yeah.
stuff and stuff like that. Because you can get that on Nextdoor or anything else. And people know, hey, if they want to see that stuff, they go there. But when they come here, it's all about the community. It's all about coming together. It's all about the events. It's all about the people. And over time, I think people, grow and have an appreciation for that. And then it does translate into business. I mean, if you have the relationships, and some of the folks in the room have been realtors for years and years, your sphere of influence, gives you the majority of your business. So it's just good business sense. The more people you can meet and have a good relationship with them, and reiterate that from touches over time without being in their face with the real estate stuff, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Every time we have an event, for lack of a better word, there's 5 touches. Yeah. And the emails are, we either have a post or an email that comes out from me, and it's always coming out from like Keller Williams, and it has my business information. When these guys send out stuff, it has their information. And we invite people, we announce, hey, put it on your calendar. This date, we're going to have so-and-so event. So that's the first touch. And then like a week later, we're like, okay, the sign-up's ready. If you want to sign up, here's the link to sign up, Genius, to sign up. It's another one. Okay, second reminder, it's coming up fast. You want to sign up, have some fun. Third touch. Right before we have the event, another one goes out. Yeah, we're ready. The big event's coming tomorrow night. Come out and see us, participate, whatever. 4th time. And then the 5th time is after the event, we do a summary about all the stuff we did, how much fun we had. We have pictures that we post and stuff. So everybody, that didn't participate gets to see it. And what's that thing what's it called? FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Like over time, like they start seeing this stuff. They're like, wait a second, I wasn't aware of that. Like, how do I get involved in that? I would have went Christmas caroling if I knew about it. And then the next time when you do it again, there's more people that show up. So we do that. Let me see if I can pull up the birthday cupcake sign.
John, do you track how much business you got?
Yeah, so this year, it's one of these things, like it's not like you do it for like 2 or 3 months and like all of a sudden like all the business starts coming your way. It's a long play, and anybody that's ever done like trying to recruit or do a specific neighborhood, they tell you, and I think Gary Keller says it takes like 2 years to kind of get that bonding and that support. But this year I was counting it up between the actual listings that we had in the neighborhood and then the buys that we got from the people that were moving out of here to go to the neighborhood, and then referrals that came in. Yeah, between myself, Pat, and did you have 1 or 2 in there?
Not in our neighborhood, but there is a lady on my street that is probably going to sell it this year.
Yeah.
Because I talked to her through Thanksgiving and the preliminary drop off.
And I think we have, how many Keller Williams realtors do we have within the neighborhood that are doing this? So each street has a street captain, okay? And we have 50 street captains. Okay, so I delegate it to like the street captains, and if they're a realtor, hey, that's their street. Build a relationship, you yourself and your neighbors. So it's not like I encroach upon that or Pat encroaches upon Dawn. She works her street. So we have Dawn, we have Sharon Little, obviously Pat, we have Daisy, Daisy Petrie. I think there's one other one.
There's a couple other realtors.
Right,
who are
like
with
Jessica.
KW.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they haven't, for whatever reason, got involved or what have you. But we're always looking for an opportunity, like, hey, if you want to be a street captain, that's how Pat got involved. She lives all the way on the other side of Southampton. She's like, hey, I'd like to do that on Springfield. I live in Springfield. Let me know how we do it and how I get involved.
But then it just exploded. I mean, like, all of a sudden, now I have Springfield, I have Brick Road going, and I have, where I had listings, I have going. And what we do is we offer, somebody buys one of our listings to those buyers who might not be our buyers. We go knock on their door and we say, we'd like to supply the luminary lights for next year. And some of them don't even know about Hello Their Neighbor. So they just feel like connected,
Right.
like,
This is
oh,
new
you
buyers.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
Like,
move into the neighborhood,
yeah,
they're like,
come
well,
on.
so I'm like, wow, we can do this in the neighborhood I was in. And it's like, tell me more about it. So they want to be involved.
So
So-
it's a sense of community.
Yeah.
That's where we're coming from.
So I add them up. We had 20 transactions this past year
Wow.
that
Mm-hmm.
just from this, either direct listings, somebody selling a house, buying here, referral coming in from somebody that went to an open house and another listing in the neighborhood. I mean, they came from all over, but basically around 20. So that's not bad. I mean,
And
for
out
one.
of, that not to speak
Yeah.
everything, but because I'm into these numbers.
yeah, Pat tracks the numbers. We're
But out, when we take that area, we're carrying somewhere around 25% of market share for that area, and that's high.
Yeah. There's a lot of realtors in our neighborhood in Beverly Hills. I have 3 on my street alone. I do. I have neighbor 2 doors down, my neighbor right across the street.
Okay.
And then there's a neighbor on Lynn, and then there's Sharon, and then there's another one, and there's like so many in our neighborhood that not everybody has. Like, it's not all the same people listing, which is,
Right.
that's why we have a lot more share in the neighborhood. And then the Hello Their Neighbor has a welcome committee, and they have bags of stuff in there, and every new neighbor, they go over and knock on the door and welcome to the neighborhood and tell them about Burgundy Hills and about what John does and what he's done. And they get included, and they go on the page and say they're new, and everybody brings them in,
Yeah.
they start all this stuff, so.
And that was just a couple of street captains that said, hey, I really like meeting the new neighbors. Can we like have something to welcome them? And I'm like, okay, go ahead, figure it out. I'm here to support you. And they came up with this idea, and we put different things in the bags, and before you know it, they move in, they get involved with the group, and they're off and running. So this continues to amaze me, this birthday cupcake sign. You talk about simple, inexpensive, like, is this really happening type thing? Okay. So we wanted to go back. We wanted to wish everybody a happy birthday to the neighbors in the neighborhood. All right. So we came up with the idea. You know how you have the lawn signs where they decorate the lawn that says happy birthday? We're like, okay, why don't we create like a hello there neighbor? Once again, it's got my name on it. It's kind of like an open house sign that says hello there neighbor, sponsored by John Anarelli, Keller Williams Realtor. And we came up with a cupcake sign beside it, which cost me about $30 on Amazon, that says happy birthday neighbor on the cupcake. So each month, the 15th of the month, I send out a post and an email to everybody, say, hey, it's time to sign up to wish your favorite neighbor a birthday, in January. So we have, if you want to sign up, go to this sign up genius link, and you put in your name. We actually have 3 of these signs. We had to go out and buy like 2 more because we have multiple neighbors on the same day, and they sign up. And what I do, let me see if it'll come up. We just sent this one out, so see how many signups we have for here. So we got one person on the first. Got one on the 6th, one on the 8th.
Still early for you.
Yeah, it's still early. We've been averaging like about 12 to 13 people that sign up each month. Okay, so let me see if I can get you a picture. So the whole idea is I go out and I set the signs in the morning, do it religiously, like about 6:45. The neighbors come out, and it's usually the little kids, that they're celebrating the birthday. They come out with their little kid, they stand behind the sign. Mom takes a picture of the kid and a big smile before they go to school. It's got Dakota Williams real estate below their neighbor's sign. It's got the cupcake sign, and it's got the kid all years, thinking he just won the lottery because everybody's, celebrating his birthday. So then what does mom do? She turns around, she posts it on the website, and what does everybody else, the 1,000 people in the website do? Well, they're like, oh, it's such a cute picture. Happy birthday, Scotty. I can't believe you're 5 years old already. So all the neighbors are having all these comments, and naturally the parents love it, because it's like everybody's commenting about their little, Johnny or Samantha or whatever. And, it's a nice way to recognize the neighbors' birthdays in the neighborhood. I thought when we first came up with this would last like about 3 or 4 months and like fizzle out. Literally, it's like 2 years plus now, almost to a point now, like it's more of a, not an aggravation, but since I teach up at Wood the first period every morning now, and I have to be up at the school like by 7 o'clock, like if there's like 3 cupcake signs that I got to hit in the neighborhood and it's still dark out, like I'm trying to find the house and I'm out there by Apple phone, look at the address, so I don't say at the right house. And then, I pick it up like 5, 6 o'clock at night, when people are done with it, and that's that. But think of all the advertising you get all throughout the day. Everybody's like driving by, seeing your sign, all the posts of, little Johnny in the neighborhood wishing him happy birthday, all the people commenting. And once again, you're not in their face. You're not like, hey, look at me, John Honorelli Realtor. You're, hey, we're doing a great thing within the community and everybody's happy and everybody's coming together. What else we do here? All right, so let's talk about the luminary lights. So we're coming up on our 4th year. So we started out with like the 15, 20 people in my front yard, and we set 2 streets. How many candles do you think we're going to set New Year's Eve this year? Keep going. Keep going.
2,000, 3,000,
Keep going.
5,000, 10,000, 20,000?
Nah, not that. We're touching probably, and we'll probably get a little bit over 10,000 candles.
No.
10,000 candles will be set in our neighborhood. I mean, literally somebody filmed it last year with a drone, and it looked like an airport that was like lit up with the drone flying around. There were so many candles and stuff. Well, once again, and the beauty about this whole thing is like everything's organic and everything came from ideas from like neighbors and like coming together talking about, okay, well, yeah, we got all these people signing up now. How do we physically do this?
Yeah.
So the first year we physically had crews we did it that year on Christmas Eve. Now we do it New Year's Eve. I'll tell you why in a minute. But we had physically that afternoon, we would go out every 10 feet on that street, put a bag down, we have sand in there, put the candle in, and then the neighbors were responsible when the sun went down to go light all their candles. So that's the way we did it the first year with Maple and Hardy. Okay, well, everybody saw it and was like, hey, how can my street get involved? We want them on our street, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, yeah, it's great. We'd like to do it, but how are we going to set all these candles within like 4 or 5 hours on, at this point, New Year's Eve? So we came up with this idea. We said, okay, if we kind of divide and conquer, we'll still do under the traditional method, Maple, Harding, and we do like 2 or 3 other streets as well that way. But we came up with this idea called the Bucket Brigade. Okay. So what the Bucket Brigade is, and we just had it December 10th. So and we went through 5 tons of sand on December 10th. So I had 5, I actually had to get the guy come back that morning to dump more sand because he ran out of sand. 5 tons of sand. Once again, my wife loves me. He's got 5 tons of sand traipsing in the house. During the holidays, that's another story. So 5 tons of sand, and we had all these volunteers who would come, and we developed these bucket kits. So what a bucket kit is, I go out and I buy one of those 5-gallon buckets from Home Depot, $5. We order the candles and the bags ahead of time, and we get like one of those clear 1-gallon, bags from like the dollar store where you get 13 for like $1 or something. And we put all the 10 bags, 10 candles, a red Solo cup, and instructions into the bag. And then we zipper up the bag. And the Bucket Brigade is I have 6 or 7 guys with shovels that come over, and all they do from 10 o'clock on is they shovel 2 scoops, and they literally line up the buckets in the driveway. And there's like hundreds of buckets in my driveway.
Do you have a picture of that?
Yeah, I think somebody put it out there.
5 tons of sand.
5 tons. And we'll have, and that's just for the Bucket Brigade. We're going to have, when we do the traditional method coming up on New Year's Eve, probably another 2 tons. So we're going to have 7 tons of sand by the time we're done everything. Let me see if I can give you.
Can you flip the bill?
There you go. So this is our cast of characters on December 10th. So we have a little table set up where neighbors are putting together little kits. Once again, everybody coming together, having a good time.
Yeah, who puts the bill then? You do?
This is the best part. All right. So,
It'd be like a $20 charge or something.
right. So $20 charge. Do the math. 10,000 candles divided by 10. All right, at $20 a piece. We're basically, I have in the bank account just from this, we're going to be topping $10,000 that we've raised, $20 donations in the neighborhood just from this one event. So the cost is 5-gallon bucket. The sand gets donated by a neighbor who is very generous with the sand. His uncle owns like this big construction concrete company. So he donates all the sand. So we don't have to pay for the sand. We order the candles in the bags. Basically, that's like $1,800 for like 3,200 candles in bags. So not much. And what else? So we print out the instructions. The dollar store with the gallon bags. So all in is probably a cost of like $5 to $6 per bucket, and we're getting $20 per bucket.
And we reuse the buckets.
Well, yeah, we try to.
We try-
The first year we try to encourage it because once again you learn as you do these things. I'm like, okay, we buy the buckets the first year. Everybody's going to bring back a bucket the next year, and then we just fill it with sand and just have to buy the candles. And, yeah, it was like, I can't find my bucket. Do you have an extra one? So I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to buy all new buckets. If you have yours, bring it. But if you don't, we have all new buckets. So they literally, for like 4 hours, show up. We have all these buckets filling the driveway.
You got a cake going or anything?
Well, that was one of the things. Like, what the volunteers do before they get there, I'm in no control of.
No, we have a lot of volunteers. This year went so smooth and a lot of stuff was pre-done thanks to Wendy. She was amazing. And we just kind of followed along and did our thing. And then we deliver for people and they come and pick up. And it really honestly is, and yes, John, it's trial and error, but this year was so smooth. And the whole concept behind it is that everybody gets together and does stuff for everybody.
That's somebody, that's even, that's
So-
not even half of what the bucket door would.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the ones that are sitting there and neighbors are coming up and then we'll replenishing those and replacing them, as more neighbors are showing up. I mean, it's incredible.
But when you're dropping them off, you're also talking to people.
Yes.
And I mean, the story, it took me a long time because everybody's telling me a story and this and that. And then you get people that come up and say, hey, I want to do it. So it's like, John, I need extra kits, like that kind of. But, I know there's going to be calls
I mean,
on New Year's Eve.
Right.
I know.
Speaking of, do we have any extra?
yeah, I have like about 60 or 70 just for that, because I know there's gonna be people like, oh, wait a second, can I still join?
Donna, I don't know if
Right.
you know her daughter, O'Halloran.
Yeah,
She wanted to know because we only have a few on my block. Because the rest of them were like older, so they don't really
Yeah.
want to do it. They'll kind of, issue, we wanted the two of us to pitch in and do the rest of our street. Because it was our whole entire street on the other side is doing it. So I said, well, let me talk to John. I completely kept forgetting, so.
Yeah.
I'll give it later.
yeah.
But
Now we have
we're
extra
gonna- the two
buckets.
of us are gonna-
And-
wanted to go.
The
And there's not
more
many.
people that are older in my neighborhood, a lot of them I told, hey, listen, I'm doing this for you.
Got it. Good
And I,
idea.
I go and I
I can
put
do
the
that.
bags up and stuff, and they really,
Right.
Yeah.
they really.
Yeah, because we'll just go in and clean it all up and
Yeah.
do everything. They don't have to worry about any of it, so.
Is there a charitable arm of this, or no? Like, do you have extra money?
Yeah. In fact, that's the whole idea where we use this as kind of like the fundraisers to kind of fund the other stuff during the year.
Wow.
So I have more than enough money. In fact, I'm looking to spend money. What are some of the things that we came up with?
Yes.
So we do this, we came up with and said, okay, we'll have $1,000 or so. Let's start out with that. So we offer two scholarships, one $500 to a senior at William Tennant. And now this year, we're going to do the same thing, Archbishop Wood, a senior there. And it's Hello There Neighbor Scholarship. They have to have community service hours to qualify, for ideally helping us in the neighborhood, but if not in the neighborhood overall. And so there's, $1,000, going out there. Probably, within the next year or two, we'll probably up it to like 2,000, because I'd like to give more than just, one scholarship here and there. What else do we do that's kind of neat? Oh, we have an Adopt a Neighbor Day. This is one of my favorite ones and the touching one. Adopt a Neighbor Day. Okay, so in addition to the weekend where we do the neighborhood garage sale in August, we do Adopt a Neighbor. Because some of the feedback that was coming, this neighborhood, there's a lot of folks that have been there, original owners, that can't come and do the events, but they see everything that's going on and they want to be a part of it. So we thought, okay, if we have an Adopt a Neighbor Day where one neighbor adopts another neighbor and does something nice for that neighbor on that day, that'd be pretty nice. Because if there's somebody that's like a shut in and can't get out to the events, we're bringing whatever to them. So we have, between probably 10, 15 neighbors that sign up to do an Adopt a Neighbor. It can be anywhere from, hey, I'm dropping off a meal, you don't have to cook that night, to, hey, here's some candy and flowers, to, hey, if you need an errand run at the grocery store, we can do that. So that, I really like that because, and keep in mind, these are the folks, I don't want to get morbid about it, but they're the ones that eventually are probably going to be exiting their house, either, in a nursing home that they have to get out, or they pass away or whatever, and they can't stay in their house. So if you develop that connection with them and they remember that, and their family, more importantly, remembers that you took care of them, because family comes over and they see the flowers. Oh, who brought you the meal? And then you get the conversation going, with that. They remember you and they remember your name and they remember that you're coming from contribution first. No, so we shifted it to New Year's Eve because and there was some pushback. I guess this is the second or third year when we moved it, because everybody that was long-term in the neighborhood are like, hey, the lights are supposed to be welcoming, Jesus and Christmas, and why are we doing it on New Year's? And they couldn't figure out why we changed it. 3 reasons why we changed it. Number one, as it grew, and we needed more volunteers. We couldn't physically, do it on Christmas Eve because a lot of the volunteers have young kids and commitments on Christmas Eve. Either they're trying to get ready for Christmas themselves or they're going to an in-law's house and they're not around. So it was a big ask for us to say, hey, come help us on Christmas Eve. The second thing, parlaying with that, a lot of people aren't around on Christmas Eve. They're going to mass, they're out and about. And we're like, hey, we're doing all this work. We want to enjoy it and be able to like stroll through the neighborhood, and see it. So the feedback was like, hey, if we did New Year's Eve, there'd be more people at home and they get a chance to walk their dog, get out there, see it and enjoy it. And then the final thing, it was pretty cool, that it kind of, puts, the other year behind you. And there's kind of like this good feeling like, hey, we're welcoming in the new year. People were out and about at midnight. We have two neighbors that went out and bought golf carts. That was the other crazy thing. Yeah. So we have a golf cart. That's how Hampton gets around, the mascot on the golf cart. And then these two neighbors, will drive around, on New Year's Eve and raise hell at midnight and pots and pans and have kids out and stuff. So anyway, I guess that's a little long-winded, but that's kind of like what we do. So the three things I'll wrap up with, I'll tell you, number one, it's a lot of work. It's not just something that you're going to be like, hey, I want to do it. I go out there a time or two and, I'm done. You really have to make the commitment and be willing to, if you want to see some fruits of it, to be doing it for at least a couple of years to get the word out. Number two, you have to come from contribution. Keller Williams always, teaches come from contribution first, and then the business will come. This really is truly coming from contribution first. Everybody can snuff out a phony, if they think you're just out there to, oh, I'm going to have a couple of events and then I'm going to badger you with emails for the next 12 months about selling your house. I mean, okay, I know what's up with this. They're just trying to do this to get my email address so I can send them an email, whatever. So we purposely don't try to, incorporate that in. And then the final thing is you have to be willing to want to go out and engage with your neighbors, and be willing to take the negative feedback too. I have some broad shoulders. I don't comment on some of the stuff that comes back a lot of the times, but to your point, like everybody knows me, they know my name. So when the trash doesn't get picked up, guess who gets the call? Okay. So I get all the trash calls. Okay. If somebody's partying till like 1 o'clock in the morning and, people can't sleep, I get the email saying, hey, isn't there an ordinance within the township that you can, can you like call the township on Monday and get your hands on that? I mean, I get all these things like, and then like some people are just like, I never forget the one guy going back to like the $20. Maple Avenue is a street that goes between where we set the luminaries. Somehow within I think we were setting like 7,000 or 8,000 that year. He happened to sign up. He got word of it and he signed up for Maple Drive, which was back by the firehouse and a post office in Southampton. I never even knew that street existed back there. And he didn't get his bucket or he didn't get his luminaries because we set everything on Maple Avenue and he didn't get it. Well, he sends me an email and calls me up, on New Year's Day. And you might have thought like I was like, Stan Bankman-Fried, like trying to extort, like, like what is this scam? What are you running here? I'm not signing up for any more event. I mean, he was really giving me and I'm like, wow, I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, time out. I said, you live on Maple Avenue, right? It's like, I know we did the whole street. It's like, how do we miss you? He's like, no, I'm on Maple Drive. I'm like, Maple Drive. And then I went in, looked up in Brighton. Oh, son of a gun, he's all the way on the other side of Southampton. So I had to explain to him why I didn't get it. And he was like, and I'm like, okay, I'm personally going to get in the car right now. I'm going to drive over and give you your $20. So I kind of turned it into, hey, I met another neighbor, like give me an opportunity to, engage with him. But it's like some of the crazy stuff that comes up, you can't make up, you just gotta roll with it.
But then we're able to turn it around and when that girl on I forget which street it was. I think it was Cold Spring. And
somebody somehow on Zillow got them.
Oh, yeah, this is a great story. Yeah, tell me about that.
Claimed her house as his and put it up on the market on Zillow for a very ridiculous, inexpensive amount of money, which it would have never sold. I mean, it would have sold for that, but her house was way much. And she was getting people driving by, walking her property. She was like freaking out on it. And because we're an agent, I was able to, I called her to tell her that it was on there. We figured it all out. I was able to get with Zillow to get it taken off so she wouldn't get hounded with people. Put it up for $250,000. And she had people walking her property. She had real.
She had no idea what was going on.
She
She
had
just like
no-
one day came out and all of a sudden like these people were like at her house, like wanting to come in, walk in the yard. She's like, what's going on?
She had no idea.
So she posted it out on the group and then, Dawn jumped in and yeah.
Like, hey, listen, this is what happened. It's on Zillow. Somebody claimed it is you. And I was able to get with Zillow and they
Right.
cleared it out. They.
And we actually had some agents here, like file like that posting was like illegal or
Yeah.
whatever, to have Zillow take it down. So we had the office kind of get into,
Yeah. it
but
was crazy.
just
I was
another
able to
way,
help
like,
them.
they really appreciated.
People walk in my neighborhood, can't go outside. People keep contacting me. Like, it was horrible. And we were able to get it taken care of for that reason. So
Right.
kind of like, it's full good.
So this is what I'm gonna say. If you want to do something like this, or you want to do hello there neighbor, quote unquote, like on your street, I wouldn't recommend like trying to take on like the whole neighborhood at first. I would do something like with Dawn, take on like a street and kind of do a couple, because it's going to take, in fact, you can comment on this. It's going to take a few events for people to kind of understand, well, what are you doing now? Like, what do you want me to sign up for?
I think
Yeah.
the biggest thing is starting.
Right.
I think that'll help a lot. It's not gonna cost you that much money. People can sign up for free. You just go out and you tell them what to do. But she farms her neighborhood and she does a really good job farming her neighborhood. And it's kind of like farming it without doing the real estate piece. To just kind of get them comfortable with you being around and you start. I think that's the biggest thing to start off with because as you know, it grew so quickly and so great that it was kind of like overwhelming.
Right.
And you were like, what?
So the thing I'll say, like, if you want to kind of, go off and kind of do your own version of it, have at it, like whatever your neighborhood or your street would have you. If you want to kind of, do it on your street, kind of fold it into what we're doing, then number one, I need the commitment from you that you're actually going to come from contribution and you're going to abide by our guidelines, because I can't have somebody going rogue out there and jeopardizing quote unquote the brand and what we've been able to establish, because somebody all of a sudden is like, yeah, I'm in. And next thing you know, they're sending all these emails to the people behind the scenes, harassing them. And yeah,
And
so
John, you have control over what's posted on that page,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So that's the other thing too. Like I'm an admin. So if somebody posts something, like every now and then, like it's hard to kind of decipher who's part of the neighborhood and who's like a fake account wanting to get in. So if I can tie it down and kind of tangentially, tie it into neighborhood, I let you into the group. But there's some people that take advantage of that. And all of a sudden, like I let somebody in the group and then like a half hour later, he's posting about his duct cleaning, and he's that guy. Yeah. And like, so like the first time I pull it down and I send them, you got to come from contribution. Hey, we need volunteers for the buckets. You want to sign up and help us? Maybe I'll let you do the duct cleaning post. Crickets.
But
Yeah.
then we had that one kid.
Oh, this is another great story.
and He was trying to do the same thing, advertise, and John said, well, you have to come, you have to give before you get, you gotta give. And finally, he's reached out to me and said, can I get out?
Yeah, this was a great story. This warms my heart because, with me teaching at Wood, like this part of the class, we talk about real estate, but we talk about, life and coming from contribution, the importance of community and doing all that stuff first. So this was I think he went to tenant. He was a senior, just graduated, and he wanted to start his own landscaping business. So he wanted to do some stuff in the neighborhood. And, so he went out and he cleaned out gardens and stuff and do some yard work and what have you. What's that? Dylan Sharp. Yeah. Yeah. So you may be able to comment on more. Oh, Daddy?
He did a fantastic job, I must say. And he's very relentless, that's all I have to
Yeah.
say.
Well, yeah, hence the conversation we had back and forth. So he wanted to, like, he kept doing these posts. Hey, look at me. Like, I just did this yard. You know, if you need business, give me a call. So there was about 3 or 4. I was like, all right, I'm going to pull the post down. And I sent him an email and said, listen, I loved it for you. You live in the neighborhood. I love to promote your business, you know, because that's what we're about here. But you got to come from contribution first. I said, can you go to like a neighbor that's like inbound and can't go out and clean up their yard or whatever and just offer to do it for free? And if you do that, hey, I'll let you post next week, your business. He sends me a message back on Facebook. It's like, free? Yeah, question mark, question mark. I sent him a message back like, yes, exclamation point, exclamation. So we went back and forth for like 2 days. And I'm like, Dylan, what don't you understand? It's like, you got to come from contribution first. It's like, I want to help you out. I want to support and grow your business, but you got to work with me here. So finally, like, I didn't hear from him, you know, didn't allow him to post anymore. And then we had the luminary lights, and all of a sudden he reaches out, he wants to volunteer for the luminary lights. I'm like, it's like, you got religion. It's like the skies opened up and
Gave him a lot of flyers.
yeah.
Wow.
You know, like we have these flyers for the luminary, and they're all in little plastic bags that we put in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got it going on Springfield and Russell and
Marion. I got a lot of streets going now that, you know, and it's only me, so next year I'm gonna like recruit somebody.
So anyway, so I appreciate you taking the time. I know everybody's busy and everything. Hopefully, you know, you had some ideas or tidbits coming out of it. If I can help you, you know, just let me know, you know, give me a call. Like I said, feel free to kind of, you know, do your own thing, you know, kind of with the ideas, or if you want to fold it into this, I can bring you up to speed on how we do it. And yeah.
How many hours are you spending on this?
Well, the luminary lights, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, it's almost like it's a full-time job for like 3 weeks, because literally right before kind of middle of November, and I set the deadline November 30th, you know, to get all the people that want the buckets and signed up. I get them all during that time period. And literally like every morning, like I gotta sit down because I gotta track like all the money coming in, because I want to make sure everybody gets their buckets. So I put together like a tracking spreadsheet, who paid, who signed up, didn't pay. So it's a lot of work. But at the same point in time, once we get through the bucket brigade, then I can kind of, you know, catch my breath. And then we just gear up for New Year's Eve at that point. So that's the biggest time commitment. The other stuff, like I said, these guys are great volunteering. That's what you'll find. If you're really sincere about it and really want to help the neighborhood, the volunteers are going to come out, because number one, they know a lot of neighbors already that they're friendly with, and it's like another way to kind of get together and have some fun. And then number two, if you put together a well-organized thing, people want to be a part of a success and something that's well run, so they keep coming back. If you do something kind of half-assed, then they're like, okay, I'm out. Yeah, it's like, that was great, but you know, don't call me anymore. You know, so
I guess people wanting to know where the Easter eggs for this year, because everybody loved that the year before. And there was a lot of people that I heard.
so we have put, we're in this constant, not battle, but balancing that, because
Yeah.
the township, who's supposed to be putting on like events like this, really does a horrible job with it. You know, number one, getting the word out and advertising it. Number two, executing on it. So the whole township has migrated to us versus them. So, you know, I don't want to take away from the township, but at the same point in time, you know, I want to support them. So this year we said, okay, we won't do the Easter stuff. We'll let the township do their Easter egg hunt, whatever. It was a
And they
disaster.
volunteered. They didn't do it.
Yeah. And we wound up,
Thanks, Mike.
see ya, take care. We wound up having egg on our face because the neighbors were like, well, why didn't you do it this year? And yeah, township, yeah, that was horrible. So I'm like, we were trying to work with the township and support them, but it just didn't happen, you know?
Like, what percentage of this is your business to how much time you're spending? Percentage of your-
Well, like I said, I'm, and everybody's, you know, I think in Keller Williams, they talk about you got to pick one or two things you're going to focus on.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody, you know, based on how your makeup is and what you like and don't like, you got to pick that. For me and where I'm at in my career, you know, doing the community and building like this legacy is very important to me.
Yeah.
I'm not just starting out, I'm not in my 20s or 30s where, you know, I got to rely upon X number of transactions like every week or month. You know, if I had to, I may not be able to invest the time that I do in this, but where I am and what I like to do, you know, it's worth it for me.
Probably gets 12 months of traction from it, so.
Yeah.
This is not like, you gotta put in.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about all the time, if you really work like the 20 calls a day and you know, you time block your 2-3 hours a day and really doing that day in and day out and all the time you do with that throughout the year, and then you compare it to everything you're doing here, yeah, you know, it's probably 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
But-
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we were in the 4th of July parade. I never had that on my bucket list. But it was a whole month.
Yeah.
It was just.
So here's we had so much water. I'm still drinking these 6 months later. So we hand out like little waters at the parade. Yeah. So we had like the little kids that would walk along and everybody's on the parade route. We give them, you know, a little hello to their neighbor with our mission, bringing neighbors together one event at a time. So like I said, I mean, it's all stuff that you're building that relationship.
Yeah.
And if you truly believe, if you build the relationship, the business will come, which I do, then this is what's right for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're more transactional here and now, because you either have to be, or that's the way you're wired, hey, that's great too.
Yeah.
Like you do you, I mean, you know, whatever works for you. But so anyway, I mean, if I can help you in any way, answer any questions, or, you know, if you want to try to get something like this started, you know, just let me know. So,
Do you do anything on Google Meet?
actually, it's a funny story. So I'll tell you this one. So we have one neighbor, his wife passed away. You know, he couldn't stay in the house any longer, wanted to move out of the neighborhood. But he was so attached to the neighborhood, he moved out. And within 60 days, I get a call from him saying, you know, I want to meet you for breakfast. You know, I'm reconsidering. I want to move back in the neighborhood. So we met for breakfast. Yeah, we met for breakfast, and he was just like, hey, if something comes up in the neighborhood, let me know. You know, we'll pay a fair price, no inspections, whatever. But I want to get back in the neighborhood because I like the neighborhood, number one. But more importantly, he's like 75 years old. He cherished the friendships and the relationships in the neighborhood. And when he moved out of it, like, and his wife had passed away, he didn't have it anymore. Yeah, so it was kind of like heartbreaking that, yeah, he was just like, it's almost like somebody coming back into the family. So we had like a big welcome. He was 1-to-1, 75 years old. He was out there caroling Saturday night. Yeah. God love him. Yeah, he's a street captain, so 75 years old. He's out there handing out flyers and knocking on doors. Yeah, like he's got something to live for and to do, you know, and he's a people person. Yeah. Yeah, he moved back in. So, yeah, we got the listing, we sold that, and then 2 months later, we're moving back in, and he's on Forest. So we didn't put it on the market because the people that were on Forest knew of me from this program. The dad suddenly passed away. So the kids reached out to me, you know, to say, hey, you know, it's an estate, you know, we want to liquidate pretty quickly. Can you help us? So all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, like 2 weeks earlier, like Joe was like, hey, if someone comes on the market, you know, so I put the two together. He was willing to pay a fair price, close quickly. This guy over here just wanted to get rid of it and liquidate it. And we didn't even put it on the market. It came together and both sides were happy. They actually became friends. Yeah, the guy was selling it and Joe coming back in.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing, but you know, I mean, so that's $1 million, you know, it was like 400 for his and 450 come back in. So, you know, $850.
You didn't murder the guy.
No, no. Yeah. I can't reveal my source.
Get in trouble carrying
But,
some buckets.
Yeah. But I mean, I could go on. I mean, there's like so many stories like that. And, you know, for me and where I'm at in my career, I mean, this is what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
This and teaching the kids,
Yeah.
you know, up at Wood.
We do have the scarecrows, we didn't say that scarecrows,
Jeez.
and Halloween,
So,
you know, so it's all year long.
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes village.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So on,
That's
on Halloween, we actually, we decorate, you know, we have houses that sign up. If you sign, you can sign up one of three ways. First way is you sign up, you get a pumpkin, which we buy out of the kitty that we have. And we give them a carving kit. So they take it home like 3 weeks ahead of time. You know, they're with their kids, they create their pumpkin with the carving kit. And once again, on Halloween, they bring it out and, oh, by the way, I come with my sign, put it in the lawn. They put the pumpkin in front of it. And then we have a contest for like a $50 gift card. So we got 30 neighbors. Once again, you have the sign, you have the pumpkin that are posting on here.
And then you
For-
go up and.
Yeah, and then the neighbors vote. Yeah, we have a vote. That turns into a map. We have like, I think it was like close to 55, 60 houses
Oh, you
between.
go around and.
Oh, you can see your pumpkin and the
Yeah.
scarecrows.
Yeah, because people want to check out the pumpkins. So we have a map that shows, you know, where all the pumpkins are.
Yeah, yeah.
So they can go around and check them out. And then, you know, Pat's point, this kind of morphed into a scarecrow telephone pole contest.
Yeah.
So a couple of the neighbors are like, well, wait a second, why don't we just like create like a scarecrow and hang them on the telephone poles? You know, and that'll add to the
Yeah.
decorations in the neighborhood. So we have like 10 neighbors a year to do that. And then we vote on them, like the best scarecrow. Yeah, so it's like all this stuff is like simple. And it's not like me coming up with all these ideas. It's like the group, you know, getting together and saying, well, wait a second, what if we do this? In fact, we're at the point now, like there's too many ideas and not enough time to focus on one of the ideas. So I kind of push back on a lot of it, you know, if it's something that's going to be really intense or really involved. Anyway, that's it. That's my story. Yeah, see you. No, you're welcome. Yeah, no worries.
Are you looking for somebody to drive around the mascot?
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, that's a lot of fun. You know, we have the two people that, the black fellow that was next to me, he's kind of like my chauffeur, because he's the one that's got the cop cart. So I was getting on him, it's like, I don't know, like, neighbors could be talking here, you know, if you're chauffeuring me around. Yeah, he's like laughing, he's like, you know, I'm happy to do it for you.
Yeah, let them talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Next
I don't think
Thursday,
because.
can you do Halloween then?
When I go in
The 29th.
I wasn't friends with her. And then now I'm starting to kneel on my. But how did you start it? That John started it. He added a group or a page that he made. Right. It's nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet
Pat, nice to meet you. Great holiday, everybody.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You would go in and you can talk to Donna, but you can so you go on your page and you can create.
What's that?
because this isn't a separate
Is
page.
noon good? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
open
So
all
you
day
go
until
into
about
page
2:45. Noon is
and
good.
you go into
Robin
your-
Hood?
Um,
Okay.
you go into groups
Okay.
and then you would create a group, okay, and then you would name it.
I said noon.
Right.
Yeah.
But you would name your group and then put your privacy in and then you would go to and create it.
All right.
Whatever.
And if you need me for anything, just let me know.
Okay. So
Okay.
you go to New York to see the shows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry that you guys can't come, but I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to
I've been trying to get with this.
Wendy's coming,
Co-op.
and my other side, John's coming,
Oh, nice.
going up to New York, MJ. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then we're meeting with those pivot people probably about 20 or 30 of them that we're having dinner with.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
So you got the whole
it'll be a
group?
good group.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay,
All right, see you.
good presentation.
Thanks.
I gave him mine pay, but he didn't get that one. He sold my other one on the gig and I